Hello, hello. Anybody here? Have we okay, it's going now. Are we streaming? Can anyone hear me? Is anybody out there? Can anybody hear me? Hello. Hello. Anybody? I hope I'm live. How do I already have 2 likes? Come on, guys. I just started streaming. How's it going? Welcome to the stream. Today we're just kind of chilling. I didn't ever go over the homework from from the very first Lua video, so I might touch on that. The only person who I actually had submit anything for that, I think, was Peach. So I might review Peach's little script, which all that we really wanted for that script was just a simple story that was printed. It was just to test your knowledge of functions and variables and print and strings. Also concatenating. But if you don't know anything about Lua, don't worry about that. You can watch the first Lua tutorial. I have a second one up as well, but I'm going to be releasing a third one this week. How's it going, Henry? How you doing? Today's a bit chiller. We're not doing a whole lot today. We're just kind of vibing. How's everyone doing? Everyone having a good day? Or I guess had a good day? Or I guess it depends on the time zone. For me, it's had a good day. It's getting later. Not bad. I could definitely go for some sleep. I don't know why I've not been getting good sleep the past few nights. I'm sleeping all the way throughout the night, but I'm just waking up really early and not getting enough sleep after that, so I'm pretty sleepy. Thanks, thanks, Essential. I keep wanting to say Sentinel because that's how I first called you. My brain has problems switching. Thanks, Essential. Definitely check it out. We won't be doing a whole lot, so it depends on whatever we end up doing, what questions end up being asked, and what we kind of want to direct things to. I might be touching a little bit of the homework from the Lua series, the very first episode, because I didn't ever touch on that on a stream like I said I would. Because the last week's stream I was rushed on time and I completely forgot. So that's my bad. But we can touch on that. I think only Peach submitted it on the Discord. If anyone else did that homework, it was pretty much just make a story within a Lua script that has each name in a variable, and you concatenate it into a print, and it just prints it to the console. And you just have to have that in a function. It's just to practice your skills of the basic stuff in Lua. It's nothing too complicated, but you need to watch the video to understand what we're talking about. How's it going? Welcome, welcome. We are just waiting here for a few more people to come on in, trickling in today. I do want to point out that yes, I did do a poll, like asking times, and I'm having an issue figuring out the best times to do it. Because let me show you why. I already posted this in the Discord, but the poll is very close, and it's only recently actually pulled ahead in one area. Yes, feel free to ask a technical question. Go ahead. I might keep talking while you type that up, but yeah. The community is growing so fast. The Discord already has like 80 plus people in it, which I'm so shocked about. We got Peach in here, we got Orson, we got Mr. Justin Edits. We might get more people coming in here. It's crazy. Is Orson in there? I think Orson's in the Discord. I think I shared it with him. Yeah, he's here. He's actually on Discord right now. But this is what I'm saying. Yeah, let me show myself. Hello. This is what I'm talking about right here. We have Saturdays at 2 p.m. polling ahead, but I want to see if anybody else has any other inputs on this first. I might give it a couple more days. I might even wait till next week, is what I mean. I might wait until next week to like fully confirm what time I'm gonna have set. I just want to make sure that everybody has a chance to make a note if they want to. I understand that if you're here, most likely you're fine with 7:30 p.m. Fridays. But if you have another time that you'd prefer, if like I don't know if anybody actually sees the message, but I do. Siam the Annihilator, I think that's how you say the name. He's saying that he'll be asleep by this time. So I'm thinking, okay, I like my 7:30s because it's the same day as the video, but of course the same weekend is just fine too. So don't worry about that. But I'm also thinking, okay, I have a lot of people saying around 7 in the evenings, either Friday or Saturday. So I'm over here thinking, should we wait? Should we do another poll to narrow it down between those two? Or like between like evening, either Friday or Saturday versus midday Saturday? I don't know. We can talk about that on the Discord. I can make another poll or something in a couple days and halfway throughout the week or something. But yeah, just have a lot to try to brain work. Just have a lot to figure out for what we're gonna do with the streams. So if you want to join at a different time, definitely let me know. 7:30s are just convenient since it's the same day. It's right after everything's been done. People are looking at the video. People who like regularly watch the content are happy to hop in and check out the stream and talk about stuff. So yeah, that's kind of why. You have a question in the keyframes panel in Fusion, moving the input and output node, moving. Sorry, yeah, I'm gonna mute for a second. I have a lot of mucus buildup. Sorry, that's kind of disturbing. But you have a question in the keyframes panel in Fusion. Yep. Moving the input and output points of a node fixes them to a specific frame, not stretching when I extend the clip on the edit page. How can I reset them so they don't stay fixed? For example, moving the merge one node layer causes foreground elements to disappear when extending the clip. What could be happening possibly is the fact that you're using like media ends, right? And you need to have the media last the entire time, but it's getting cut off because the like imaginary length of an image, or whatever you're using, is just not long enough for the comp. In like media in example, let me switch over here. In like the media in example, if we have a media in node, actually, do I have an image up here? Is the audio low? Am I quiet? It looks about the same as it usually does. It's probably quieter than my usual videos are, because that's just because that's how this is set up. Let me try to increase it a little bit. So it's not as hard to hear me. Testing, 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 testing. We're on 2 dB. Is this any better? Maybe if I just speak up more, it might help too. Is the music too loud? Is that causing some of the problems with hearing me? Nice. Okay. Yeah. So let's bring in just this image here. Welcome. Welcome from Vancouver. Glad to have you here. Is it pronounced Salo? My pronunciations of names are awful. I've had to ask so many people for their name pronunciations. Good sound? Okay. So for an image like this, I guess in this instance it is looping. But you just have to make sure that like loop is checked most of the time. And this also goes for a loader node. If you have an image from somewhere, just bringing in another one of these random images I have. Don't bring in a whole image sequence. It is not good. Okay. Just make sure loop is on. And then if you go into the keyframes panel, you can extend these. Salo or Saulo? Saulo? That's not how I say that. Names are hard. And I am dumb. Perfection. Okay. But yeah, as you can see with like the loader, for example, here, mucus is one of my favorite words. Ew. Ew. Why? Also fluid. Moist. I liked doing that in like middle school just to annoy people. Just keep calling everything moist. What's the question mark for? Henry, I don't know what you mean. I don't know what the question mark is. I'm sorry. May have to explain that. Yeah, if you look at like the loader node here, it has these like after images of sorts of this. These are the loops of the loader node. The media in doesn't display it the same way because it's dumb. I don't know, but yeah, essentially just make sure that everything's looping. If something doesn't, like, there's certain things that don't meet I think I've encountered what you may be experiencing now, because there's, I think, certain situations where that doesn't work for certain nodes that I think generate images. I can't think of what it is off the top of my head, but I've come across issues to where I've had to constantly like readjust the global in and outs because it just was not wanting to fit in the length of the comp that I kept changing it to. Because I'm a preset maker. I like to make macros and stuff, so I've come across a lot of different problems with making macros, and that is one of them. It's one of the things that I really hate about Fusion, the fact that images don't just loop by default. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It's up to, I guess, how Fusion feels. I don't know, maybe someone has a better explanation than that, but that's how I've come to find it. Any other questions? Any other things we can talk about? Yeah, let's go up here. Seriously though, like, if you make Envato stuff, watch my content, and you'll learn how to make your stuff 1,000 times better, much more user-friendly. It's great stuff. It's not to toot my own horn here, but yeah, like, especially on Envato and like Motion Array, those presets have traditionally not been very good, only because they make them with the same method, the same methods that they would make something in either After Effects or Premiere Pro, and don't think about how you would do that for DaVinci, which has its entirely own ecosystem, which is Fusion and not the traditional motion graphics of layers. It's definitely a difference when you look at DaVinci stuff and Premiere Pro stuff. The Premiere Pro stuff is almost always better. It's not because DaVinci's worse. It's because one, Premiere Pro is older, but also macros are way newer and not talked about anywhere. So very important to have channels like mine that talk about this stuff, which I don't think I know of any other macro channels / Lua DaVinci scripting specifically. There's some people who've talked about macros and scripting, like Patrick and Alex, but I can't think of anybody who's like solely talked about it in like a whole series or more videos than like a couple. But if you have any other people that I haven't found, please link them in the chat. I'd love to learn about them. I want to start scripting, but what's the starting point to make a script? Like the base few code lines to start and connect my script to Fusion. You don't understand how to connect that. So technically, if you just want to have a script that works in Fusion, you don't have to actually get any of the variables from Fusion. Let me open up one of my code things here. Do I have anything good up here to show you? Okay, this is ANIM utility. This is what I actually showed off in the video from today. This is the code for that script that I showed off. up here at the top, there are certain things. Yeah. For like when you're in Fusion, you don't have to have any of the things to get out of, like, you don't have to call a Fusion variable and everything, or a comp variable, or anything like that, because comp works by default. Few for Fusion, and Fusion itself works by default. You don't have to create variables for those if you're calling it straight in Fusion, but if you go from the edit page and go into Fusion, then you have to call it, because it doesn't know which comp you're looking at. It doesn't know that off the top of its head, because the script was launched from the edit page, not from the Fusion page, so you have to tell it later on, if that makes sense. So for the most part, like, you don't have to do much for Fusion. The edit page and other parts of DaVinci, since they're made after the fact, like they're an afterthought, versus the Fusion scripting is designed by Ion Software, the original makers of Fusion. It's way more easy. It's way easier and way more comprehensive to code for Fusion versus coding for any other part of DaVinci, because it's just not made for that by default. So it's a little bit of a process. And you're not sure to connect that. Are you still talking about? Oh yeah, you're still talking about like the Fusion thing. Okay. Hey Asher, I used to be a developer. Now I'm working on a course that will be over 100 hours long. Ooh. I'm looking for insight and guidance to start automating repetitive tasks. Any idea where to start? Repetitive tasks. That's a pretty broad question. I'm not sure what Mr. Banks is talking about. If you ever used Access Power Bins to start. I mean, definitely use Power Bins. Power Bins are great. But anyway, depends on whatever repetitive task you're looking for. If you're looking for stuff in, like, DaVinci, then I can help you out there. And we can talk about that in, like, a Discord conversation or something to go into more detail. Because that can be detailed depending on, like, whatever you want to... Like, whatever you would want to automate, we can talk about where to start with that. But if you want to automate general computer things, Python is the way to go for that. If you want to start learning Python, there's tons of documentation for that. That's a very popular coding software, or coding language, I mean. And it has a lot of really powerful libraries to do really, really crazy stuff. It has a built-in UI system so that even if you're not launching it from a software like DaVinci, for example, you can still launch a UI that has interactable features for a user. It's really, really good stuff. And you can do pretty much anything with Python, is what I would assume. Like, I made a really simple, super simple little script that turns YouTube links into the YouTube videos and puts them into DaVinci. And I did that in Python because I found a really easy to use library that I just plopped in there, gave it a couple of lines, and then it did its thing. But it definitely depends. If you do want to start automating tasks for DaVinci, you can start watching my stuff, but there's also, like, tons of other documentations out there. Yes, stuff in DaVinci. Okay. I wanted to clarify what it was first before I, like, started trying to educate a bunch of Python stuff. I've little experience in Python. Definitely be watching my stuff, because I talk about Lua scripting for DaVinci, I think, more often than anybody else. I don't know for sure. If you know somebody, please, once again, let me know. I'd love to talk to them and learn from them as well. But here is the scripting. Actually, that's the PDF version. Let me get it from the Discord, because Peach actually sent the link version. I like his link version versus my actual file version. Fusion 8 scripting guide. Here it is. So here is the scripting guide. It is mostly centered around Fusion. So if you're looking to automate a lot of stuff in Fusion, that's the place to go. If you're wanting to automate stuff in general, is it this one? Yeah. if you're looking to automate stuff in general, here is the API introduction with other API stuff around Resolve that you can look at and try to piece together. Everything on the website that I just sent is Python, but in the video that I touch on this a little bit, definitely, if you ever see like sorry, my brain's scatterbrained. If you have a line of code that doesn't work from this website, if you see a colon or a period, swap them. Swap it if it's a period, do a colon. If it's a colon, do a period. Because like 90% of the time, that's all you have to do to fix the problem. There's occasional other things that like it's fully different, but for the most part, switch your colons and periods and you're pretty much okay. Sometimes you have to do it a little bit more finagly, try to mess around with some more stuff, try to figure it out, but yeah. Honestly, that's just how the documentation is written for DaVinci. Like, that's how their functions are written. I don't know why. That's mostly the Resolve API. The Fusion stuff, the Fusion stuff is also pretty similar to that. The biggest difference is where you have the Resolve GUI system. That's where things get really weird with them being completely different, and I don't know why. It's really bizarre. Like, the lines of code are completely different between the two of them. It's really strange. No problem. Happy to help. Sorry, I'm reading a message from Peach right now. He's in the Discord asking about scripting help. You should join the stream, Peach. You should ask these questions in here. Nah, he has a lot of confusing questions that would be tough to answer over the stream without having this sort of stuff right here. Any other questions, y'all? Any other comments, suggestions, thoughts, opinions? There is something that I do want to actually talk about in a minute if we want to. Let's see how. Yeah, we're only about half an hour. We have plenty of time. I saw a video. So I watch a lot of Minecraft videos because I like that kind of content. Scripting guide page 9 shows general uses. Does it? General uses for what? General uses of what? Yeah, okay, yeah, look at that. Yeah, it's got this big old list. Automation, repetitive tasks, maintaining conventions, I think. Tasks prone to human error, it's good to automate those. Extending core features in the application, which is why I'm making my macro creator. Behavior that needs customization for a specific pipeline. That's a little bit confusing, but it has an example. And then communication with a third-party application. Less helpful, I think, with Lua, but more helpful with Python. Scripting isn't as scary as it seems. Oh, by the way, I'm doing good, to answer your question. But scripting isn't as scary as it seems. Like, it makes sense why you'd be scared, because, like, for one, it's daunting. You have lots of lines of code to have to write. But after you write, like, your first script, you can just reuse those lines of code. They don't change much. Most of the time, code doesn't change a whole lot. So if you've used it before, it's really easy to pile on top of that and keep building like a big ol' system of everything you've done in Fusion. Or everything you've done for DaVinci. So like 90%, not 90%. much less than that for the macro creator. I would say like 30 to 40% of the macro creator is literally just stuff that I've done before, and I've just changed it slightly, or it's stuff that I found that other people have made. If you know of scripts like Snap Captions or Ease Copy or Anim Utility, and you like those scripts and you like certain functionalities of them, and like you want to learn how they do that, open it up. Here, let me show you. Ignore that. If you open up, can I have any more windows open? Open up your files, or no, here, I'll show you from scratch. If you're on Windows, you can just do on the search, do %app data %, and this brings you to roaming. You go into Blackmagic Design, go into DaVinci Resolve, support, Fusion, and then this is where all of your like community-made stuff is found. If you come down here to scripts, and if you know what folder it is, if it has an automatic installer, if you put it in there yourself, you just go to it, you double click it, and open it up into your text editor. It doesn't have to be VS Code, could be text like the Notepad, Notepad++, any other text editor. And you can just look through the code a little bit and try to figure out what it is. And it is way easier to learn from the code if you have used some coding stuff before. So don't just go into a script and expect to understand it. Try scripting a couple of different things, and once you've gotten to a point where you like what you've done and you think, okay, this other script is really cool, I want to learn how they do this, you may have a better understanding of that. Now, everything up here at the very start of this script is UI stuff, which I will be talking about UI specifically in the next scripting video, so this week, just because that's a lot of stuff to go over, but I'll be going over it piece by piece, slowly over time. But as we can see, there's a lot of stuff going on here. But this is all the UI. It's laid out really nicely. This is getting information for the UI. This is literally when the user does something on the UI, do this. Like this is all that this is doing right here. And then we have functions. We have a bunch of functions now. We have the main logic. And then this person does a really good job at labeling their stuff. I don't. I need to go back through and label my code because my code is not well labeled. If you look at, especially right now with the macro creator, the file is a little bit, first off, it's a little long. Let's just see how many lines this is. Most of this is typed out by hand, by the way. This is about almost 5,000 lines of code, give or take. Most of it written by hand. Most of it is not reused. But there are large chunks of things that are reused. There's also 2 scripts in this that are not actually being ran in this because with my installation feature, which I'm going to teach you guys how to do an installation feature for your macros or for your scripts as well because it's really cool. For the installation feature, I'm also creating the change macro type file and the controls editor file while you install the actual main script. And it also creates the folders for you. And it doesn't even remove this file. My biggest problem with the Anim utility is I cheated with the install feature because all I did is move the clip, or not move the clip, but I moved the Lua file into the scripts folder, which probably scared people because, well, it didn't just move that Lua file, it moved a folder into the scripts folder. So if you put that file into any other folder, you are moving your downloads folder into the scripts folder, whether you wanted to or not. So I definitely need to rework that because this is a much smarter thing. What this is doing, and I'll quickly just kind of go over it in like terminology that will hopefully make sense versus looking at the code. With the install features, all you have to do is get where the file currently is, figure out if it is where it's supposed to be, which is the scripts folder that you want it to be in. So in my case, I want it to go into, I I want to make sure that it is in the view path. If it's anywhere in view path, I know that it's where it's supposed to be. If it's not in view path, I need to install it. When I go to install it, I open up this exact file, and then I get everything in it. It reads the entire file, and then pastes it into a new file in that location. And then when I go to create the other scripts, it just takes these variables and pastes those into that file. It's not as hard as it sounds, but it definitely is a lot more effective than it sounds when you just say it out loud like that. But it's a super easy way to install a file. And all you have to do is have this one file for the person to get, and it will install it. And it will even create a like saves folder and another folder for the other script, and it'll do a lot. It also puts it in two different places. It puts the exact same files in two places. One for a tool script and one for a the regular like workspace script. But the tool script is currently broken because of I don't want to talk about it. It's goofy, but it's really annoying. But yeah, you're being scared of doing your script for the first time. I'm not surprised. It's very scary. I do have to admit something though. I don't want this to make you feel bad. I learned Lua over a weekend. I've had coding experience in the past. I've coded in Python, I've coded in HTML, CSS, I think C#, Java, JavaScript. You could say a few. And so I've had experience with the logic of a code before. So when I was like, okay, I want to learn how to script for DaVinci, Lua seems like the easiest way to do it. I found a like 3-hour tutorial, watched it all the way through, made a couple of scripts, and got the basis. Now, the first things I did were actually like small scripts, like games, I think. I even started doing like Love2D for a little bit there. Love2D, for those of you who don't know, is a Lua-specific gaming creator. Like, you're able to create games straight out of code in just this one thing. Because Lua doesn't have its own UI system or like rendering system or anything like that. It's just math behind the scenes, I guess. So it doesn't actually display anything unless you print it. But if you use Love2D, you can create a whole game. I created Pong that had an AI. I created Asteroids following a tutorial that was like 6 parts or more. I've created a few different off things like that. And it's a lot of fun to make games, but it's a lot of work. I'd rather make scripts like this. But making the game helped me learn a lot about Lua and how to actually use it. So if you want to look up Love2D, in fact, I'll actually put it in the chat. If you want to get good at like practicing Lua, download Love2D, learn about it. I'll also put a video in the description as well. There's the Love2D link. If it'll... What's happening? Is it pasting in the chat? I can't see it. Am I talking to myself? Is the stream still happening? Because I haven't gotten any new messages. I'm getting concerned now. Okay, well, at least you can still hear me if the stream is still going. What's going on? Hello? Hold on. I have to investigate. What's going on now? I'm having like Wi-Fi issues? What's happening? Okay, I pulled up the stream. I can see myself, but it's not loading chat. What's happening? What's going on? I can't see. Why can't I send links either? Hello? What is going on? Can anybody hear me? Is this stream still happening? Oh, the webpage finally loaded. Okay. I can see it. Okay, for some reason... what is going on right now? Okay, I can see it over here, but I can't see it over here. So that's great. Okay, what did I miss? Because, geez. Okay, I missed Henry saying a few things. UI video would be very interesting. I definitely want to do a whole video on UI. I do want to do like small bite-sized pieces first, just because it takes a second to get used to. It takes a second to learn. I'm gonna try to make one later. Yeah. Good morning, Chad. Sorry I didn't see your message. Welcome, Sleeveless, if you're still here. Hello, welcome. Realize there are better scripts online that makes the things I made the most of my macros better than I did. I didn't know about the anim utility. That's why I made mid animator. Nah, it's okay. Don't worry about it. I mean, anim utility technically doesn't animate mids. It animates beginnings and ends. Technically different. If you wanted to do a specific script that just did like the mids, that'd be really cool. I don't know. Something to look into. Welcome. I'm glad everyone's still here. If anybody's chatting, I can't see your messages again because I think YouTube hates me. What is going on? I'm refreshing the page. Why can't I see anything? And this chat takes years to load. I'm gonna pull it on my phone, see if that's any better. This is kind of funny, but also really annoying. I wish there was like a YouTube chat app. That'd be handy. YouTube, get on it. Make a YouTube chat app. I'd like to see my live chat. Hello. Okay, I can see you guys on my phone now. We're good. I hit myself in the face, by the way. Okay, I can see you. All right, let me send another message. Let me send out a tutorial for Love 2D, since I said that I would. Docs, chat, here we go. Oh, it's updated. I can see the newer chat now. But is it actually going to update? That's the big question. Let me just look up some Love 2D tutorials. Oh no, it's a Love 2D crash course. There we go. Don't play. Shush. Okay, this is from Steve's teacher, which I think is the same guy who taught me Lua. So you can trust him. Here is the Lua series. Well, this is actually just one video, but I don't know. Sorry, it is part of a whole comprehensive crash course. My bad. So yes, definitely if you have the time, watch that crash course. Get used to Love 2D. It's a lot of fun to make games with it, but it's also just a really good tool to learn about Lua. It's great practice to get the math and the functions down. There's a slight difference because they also use a different system because it's a game system. They have like an initial, like an init. They have a looping function, and they have like an ending function or something like that. I can't remember what all they all are, but yeah, it's not exactly one for one, but at the same time, you should be able to still learn a lot from it. Just don't take exactly Love 2D lines of code and put them into DaVinci because that will cause problems. Yeah, you can also end up like distributing Love 2D games as like .exes. It's really cool stuff you can make. I wanted to finish making my Pong game, but I couldn't finish the AI, and I didn't ever bother trying to figure out the Pythagorean theorem. So I didn't ever bother trying to make that work. Interesting collections of cameras, by the way. Yes. So these are all my grandfather's and his father's cameras. We got. Yeah, I'm looking at my phone to line up where I'm looking at, but you know that's never gonna work because it's delayed. We got an old film camera. We got a nice old. This is an old Polaroid right here. We got a nice. This one's nicknamed the Brick because it's literally a brick. This one actually was my dad's. This is an old like plastic film camera, and this one is one of those that you like look through from the top. I forget what they're called, but it's one of them Arguses. You just look through it, oh, and snap. I don't have any film because this stuff's old. Found a website, Code Academy, that has Lua. I mean, you know what Print does now. I would say so Code Academy is really good at teaching code, obviously. That's kind of what they're known for. But definitely use Code Academy if you want to. They have a free course, right? Definitely good to use that. And there's a lot more Lua stuff than I've taught. And there's a lot more Lua stuff than I know. Because Lua is a larger scripting language than what most people will be introduced to. But at the same time, the things you actually use things you actually use more often than not are just like the same few things. Functions, loops, variables. And that's really it. you will do string stuff. There's an entire string system. You can like modify strings really quickly. There's obviously a really robust math system. There's the ability to connect to your computer and everything like that, like with OS. So there's a lot of crazy things you can do with it. So definitely, I won't be touching all this stuff in like a comprehensive course. I'll just be touching on it in like videos as I go along. So definitely, sorry, that caught me off guard. I'm also very flattered. I'm very flattered. Thank you, Mista. Oh man, thank you. I think I've been riding that ego high for a while. He has a great voice. Yeah, definitely. If you want to do the Code Academy stuff, do that because I won't be teaching everything with Lua. Just to wrap that up real quick. I also have Game Boys as well. I got this one is actually my friend's, but I love it still because they gave it to me for free because they're an awesome friend. Simple old Game Boy Advance SP, pink, with a star. And we also got an old Game Boy that I broke on the way over here because I moved and I actually broke it because I put it in a bad box. I put it in a box that was gonna crush. Ooh, crap! It's broken enough. But yeah, if we look at it, I slightly damaged the screen. It had a couple lines before, but man, I borked it. So I definitely want to look into getting this replaced in the future, or at least the screen replaced in the future. That wasn't my original Game Boy. I never had one. I also never had originally any of these Game Boys. I bought the Classic and then I just was given the Advance. So I'm not too attached to it. I just like retro stuff. That's why I like also the cameras and everything over here. Any other crazy stuff? Nothing too crazy. I have an old light meter, if you want to see that. If you guys know anything about film photography or like old photography before the digital cameras that like could adjust everything for you, you had to get one of these guys. And these guys, you would like aim sort of in the direction of where the camera would be pointing, press this button on the side, and it would like tell you the information of what you should put in your camera to make it light the best. Really cool stuff. But it doesn't work anymore. It hasn't worked since I found it at my granddad's place. It is non-functional. And also, if you guys don't know, also a really big Doctor Who nerd. So, I have a couple of things of Doctor Who. You call Doctor Who that in Russia? That's what you call Doctor Who? Or am I misreading what you said? The first script you're going to make, aside from the Hello World print, is a script that changes the input table name of a macro to have the one it's supposed to have, so I can reference things well. Changes the input table name. Input table name. Input table name. Is that a typo, or am I not understanding what you're trying to say? You want camera, but then I need capture card. What doctor are they on now? We are on... We're on Ncuti Gatwa, the first Black Doctor. Love him. He's great. He's also openly gay. He's hilarious. He's cute. Fun. Charismatic. And he had a really, really short season for some reason. He had an 8-episode season. Yeah, I think we're on the 14th. Yeah, 14th. We had Matt Smith. We had Peter Capaldi. We had Jodie Whittaker. We had the return of David Tennant for the 14th Doctor briefly. And then I guess we're technically on the 15th Doctor with Ncuti. Since the David Tennant Doctor lasted 3 episodes and then got shot by a giant, like, planet-killing laser. And then, I won't spoil it, but weird hijinks happened that shouldn't have happened for the series. I don't know. I won't get into it too much. Because if you want to end up watching it, go ahead and watch it. I won't spoil it, but it's a very interesting watch. This new season is very interesting. David, yeah, David's a fan classic. He's a very great guy to begin with, but then his Doctor was also just fantastic. Like, he had the greatest stories. He had, I think, the longest run. Maybe Matt can contest him on that. Yeah, the 9th Doctor was good. I wish that Christopher would come back, the actor for that, but he's done interviews and stuff, and he does not like the management. And I've watched breakdowns of it, and yeah, I can see why people don't like the management of the Doctor Who show from behind the scenes. It's super bad. Like, lots of, especially in that first season with that first Doctor with 9, there were lots of, like, really crazy stuff happening. I don't know. Some people liked him, I guess, but yeah, he was one of the more hated ones. I'm also a Pokemon fan. Actually, in the Game Boy, I have Pokemon Red. I bought this when I got the Game Boy. No, I had this for a while. I bought the Game Boy afterwards because I had this for a while, and I was like, well, I want to use it in an actual Game Boy. So I got Pokemon Red. I've also got, I think, all the modern Pokemon games on my Switch. My favorite one was Black, and I think my favorite one out of all was Black 2, not necessarily just the first one. Just found out a very sought after complete set. 2005 Deoxys. I don't know anything about, like, the hardcore stuff. I'm a fan, but not necessarily about, like, the event Pokemon, because when I was a kid, I found those really, really annoying, because I would never be able to go to one. Now, honestly, Henry, that's fair. Pokemon is not for everybody. It's a very boring game, especially by today's standards. But it's like a turn-based game, which should be fun, but Pokemon hasn't learned how to make it fun yet, so they're still with basically PNGs moving around the screen, but in 3D now. The animations are awful. I know you've heard of Magic, but do you play? I used to play Magic when I was in Scouts. Hold on, I'm going to answer this question. Do you think an automation to sequence feature is possible? Automate to sequence. We are just curious if something can be pulled off. Sequence. I might need a breakdown of what you mean by sequence. Maybe it's a common term that I just don't know off the top of my head. But please do explain that real quick. I don't play. I used to when I was in Scouts. But I didn't really get too much into it because the people who I learned from refused to teach me and gate-kept it from me. So I had to watch them and try to learn based off of watching them. And they just kept saying, no, it's too complicated. We can't show it to you. We can't teach it to you. But no, they were just being dicks and being gatekeepers and not telling me. But I ended up learning it. I wasn't very good at it. And since I never actually had anybody actually teach me it, I gave away my set of cards. I don't have anybody to play with. Like I don't even have cards anymore. I gave my cards away. Oh, wait, no, you're the person who asked that one question, aren't you? Someone actually already asked this question, I think, where you have markers on the timeline that like are for specific things, and you have your clips in order that you want them to appear in the timeline, and they'll go to the right places, right? Is it online Magic the Gathering? What? I thought it was all physical cards. What? Yeah, that was you guys. It is possible. So, like, it could be possible. I'll have to look at it, because I don't know if you can get the actual file type from a clip in the media pool. I'll have to look at that. I'm sure you can. I just don't know how to do it off the top of my head. Did you guys reach out to me on Discord? Is that where you guys reached out to me? Is that where I remember you? Or is that... I'm having charge, I'm talking right now. Or was that on YouTube or something? By the way, Sleeveless, thank you for the message in the Discord. I appreciate that. Okay, yep. I'll get back to you guys, and I will definitely figure that out behind the scenes, because I'm sure it exists. I just don't know how to do it. That's just how things go when it comes to this. There's not well documentation, so you just gotta hope that it exists and look for it. I'm sure it exists somewhere. Yeah, I'm almost confident that I can make that happen, because even if I can't get it to read the clip type, I can get it to read metadata, and you just put in metadata for each of the clips, which might take more time than it's worth. Like for each clip in DaVinci. Sorry for that nose scratch. Let me bring up something over here real quick before I bring you guys over with me. So let's say we have like this clip right here. It's in my media pool. It's just me, I think, doing in one of my videos. Sure. Like this is one of my recording sessions, I think. If you come over here to File, you can change metadata for the clip. So if you want to, you can... where am I? Oh no, sorry, not the inspector. If you go over to metadata, there's a lot more stuff. And you can actually like see a bunch of information. So let's see all groups. Can we edit this stuff? Yeah. If you put in like the description, you say that this specific clip is talking head, or whatever specific things you need to have for your timeline, then I can probably read that, and as long as you type in the exact words that I'm looking for, I'm sure I could make a script that can put those into the timeline. But I'm also still holding out hope that I can read what kind of file it is. If it's like a Fusion comp, an actual image, or video. We also could talk about like the specifics of what you actually want to expect for like putting onto the clip, onto the timeline. Sorry. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff we can talk about to make that even more specific for your needs. But yeah, there's a lot that we could do. Did I miss any questions? There's 2 online ways to play? What? So they have like an official website, I'm guessing, but there's a second one? Why is there a second one? Is there like a fan-made Magic the Gathering? Like how there's like a fan-made Pokemon tournament thing? Is that fan-made? I actually don't know. There's like a Pokemon tournament thingy-majig that like people go in and like they choose their team. I think they also choose what moves each thing has, each Pokemon has, and then just battle it out with random people. I think it's fan made, but it has like the exact same mechanics as base Pokemon. But yeah, I'm gonna put this away. I still have this out. I don't want to knock it off the desk and actually break it all the way, so it doesn't actually turn on. I don't want that to happen. Yeah. Any other questions? Any other comments? Just here for whenever you guys need. Because if we don't have... Do you like Dragon Ball? I've actually never seen it. I know, it's a crime. It's a sin. I've actually not seen many animes. I think in terms of an anime that I've seen, the closest thing to an anime that I've seen would either be Avatar: The Last Airbender or RWBY, like the RWBY online series. But I don't know. I don't think I've watched any other. I think I've watched clips of animes, but I've not actually watched a full anime. I don't like, personally, the over-exaggerated characteristics of characters. It's totally fine. Like that's their medium. That's their thing. I get so awkward in situations that I'm just like, ooh, that's a non-socially acceptable thing to do. Ooh, cringe. But that's just because I find those things cringe when I do it. Let me answer a few other questions. Let me answer the question about the Blackmagic controller, this panel, real quick. And you can ask a few about the docks. So, I used to use this way more often. Did you happen to watch my workflow video regarding the inserting scorecard data at specific text comps? I don't know if I have, actually. I haven't seen your channel ever come up on my feed. They're actually, so I have looked at my, just to go off slightly off topic, but still kind of on topic about subscribers. I looked at my recent subscribers, and there's this one channel with a huge amount of subscribers who subscribed. NerdSync. Seems like a fantastic dude. He's got like 500,000 subs. Super popular dude. But he does a lot of like Scooby-Doo based videos talking about Scooby-Doo, and I watched his video from 8 months ago about a 20-year-old mystery, and it was actually super interesting. It kept me entertained the entire time. Sorry. Let me look up your channel. Your Fairway Media on Discord. Ah, okay. I see you just sent me a message. Hello. Oh, is it the tournament website thing here? Let me quickly answer the question about the control panel really fast here. This is technically, I guess, called the speed editor, not the control panel. But I used to use it more often when I was more of a full-time editor working at my job. But I'm no longer editing videos all the time, and I'm doing a lot of graphics and stuff. So this hasn't been that useful for me recently. Plus, it is also really, really good for multicam stuff. I plan on doing a whole video on this, but this entire middle section is entirely multicam. There's no other features in that section besides multicam features. This scroll wheel over here, I love it. It's really good for going between stuff in the timeline. And there's like different modes for it. Like you can do different speeds up here. And then over here, we can trim in and outs, which is really good. We can set in and out points. We can do different trimmings. We can do different transitions on this. Up here is different ways to insert clips from the media pool. So this is also a media, not a media page, a cut page specific tool as well. It does work on the edit page, but a lot of these buttons are very specific for the cut page. You have two, but I typically work with only one camera. I mean, I only have one camera too. I think you are talking to me. I don't know what I said to prompt that message. I'm awful at remembering what I just said. And then we can also switch between source and timeline for previewing clips. Super handy stuff. But once again, I don't use this too much. This is how I bought the studio version of DaVinci. this was essentially free, and I just bought Studio. That's how it worked. When you buy this, you get a Studio card, which I don't even know where it is. I think it's in my desk somewhere. But you get a card that you can just put in for Studio, and you also get this, which if you want to use this is really cool. If you don't want to use this, it's good to have on hand. Because one day you could be editing multicam stuff. Oh, you're talking about, yeah. You're talking about the stuff, yes. The jog wheel is really fun. It feels really, really good. It feels so good. It has a click when you click it, but it doesn't do anything. Because they hate you. They're not something to your country. What kind of... Sorry, I'm trying to think of the term for it. I can't think of the term for it. Shoot, how did I forget the name of this? Racist, but not towards different skin colors, just different countries. What's that called? It's really out of pocket for me to say just out of the blue, but what's that called? Because I'm trying to think like, oh man, Da Vinci's being this to you, whatever that term is. It's like jokingly, but I can't think of what it is. Are they just for the U.S.? I thought they do across the world. You know, just there, just to stimulate your senses, you know. Because why not? Why else have a button there? You want to do a certain thing? Nah. Yeah, Canada is, I think, close enough to America to where that's, like, I guess, expected. No, the jog wheel is just so weird. Like, I kept clicking it when I was first getting it. I was like, oh, it has a cool click on this jog wheel. I wonder what the jog wheel does. And I watched a video, I think this is like Alex Tech, when he made his video on it. And it was just like, it doesn't do anything. It just clicks. Why? Shouldn't be hard. It's Mexico, not too far, but I don't know. Did they really not ship to Mexico? Man. These guys. It says, that's not, that's the wrong Black Magic. That's like Black Magic to supply, whatever it is. That's just company offices, shipping dates. I don't see anywhere where they like outright say where they ship to. I guess in like a quick Google, I guess a quick Google search. But I'm guessing if you've tried to order it before and it's told you that you can't, I'm guessing they don't. I just can't find it anywhere. That's really weird. I wonder if Amazon has them. I think you can do it from Amazon, can't you? Yeah, I think you can buy it from Amazon. Like they have a deal with them or something. Speed editor. Sorry, I'm looking up the speed editor now so I can like find the locations for it. Sorry, I'm all gassy. Okay, come on, load for me. I must be having bad Wi-Fi because it is not loading anything. I mean, my guess is if Da Vinci, or if Black Magic says it's okay to use that website, it should be okay. Is it more on Amazon? I think I got mine from Amazon. I can't remember. I might overpaid. I don't know. It's been like a couple of years since I got it. Okay, this website is not loading, so we'll just wait on that. Salo. Did you want to ask any questions about the documentation? Feel free. I can answer it the best I can. There's some things that I won't be able to answer because there's a lot in that I haven't read. But at this point in time, I've probably read through a lot of it. Just like grazing through it. Mostly what I do is I do a search for the term I'm looking for. And I generally have an idea of what I'm looking for in my head. Takes me a while, but I end up finding it, usually. Sometimes I can't. Just to let everyone know, I'm planning on wrapping things up in here in about 20-ish minutes. So get all your questions in now. Happy to help. Also, I do want to quickly say, depending on how busy I get after the release of the Macro Creator, since I'm also going to be offering meetings with me to like take hours of my time away, there are chances where I may not be able to stream some weeks, depending on how busy I get with people needing one-on-one time with me. But I will let you know beforehand, always. I'm reading it right now, but I'm trying to figure out what I can automate instead of copying and pasting for my course video. Okay. So technically the consulting for the Macro Creator is only for macros. I do want to offer one-on-one meetings with me separately that are like one-time payment things that are just like, hey, if you want to meet with me, spend like an hour or more of our time together talking about something that you're working on. Just pay me like, I don't know. I'll figure out what the price is, maybe like $50 or something. And just be like, yeah, we can talk about stuff for an hour or more. Figure stuff out. Yeah, time is money. And like, I wish I could do all this stuff for free all the time, but like, the only times that I want to do stuff for free would be like on streams and videos, because those are what I'm doing for free right now. And videos I may end up getting paid for in the future. I don't know. Depends on how quickly I get monetized. Could take a year, depending on how fast I get watch hours. But definitely, if I'm doing one-on-one, since it's taking up both of our time, yeah, I'll probably have you pay for it. Open to ideas for your script to automate. Do you want to automate stuff in Fusion or in the edit page? Salu. Because that would narrow down what I'd help give you ideas for. I always feel weird saying that I have knowledge of things. I clearly do, but like, I hate feeling like an authority figure. I put myself in the situation. I know I have, but I'm like an authority figure on the subject now, and that's a little bit weird. Especially since I learned Lua in a weekend. But I've used it enough now to where I like know how to do everything, mostly. Or I can figure out how to do stuff and teach you guys, or yeah, macros as well. Like, I tore apart other people's macros and then taught myself based off of that. Like, I didn't have any documentation or teacher or anything to like learn this stuff from. I taught myself everything I know. So being an authority figure on the topic feels very weird. It's like becoming an engineer after taking apart an engine a couple of times and kind of figuring out how it works, but still learning new things as you're doing it, and then getting hired as like an engineer at like Tesla. That's kind of what it feels like. Like, obviously I know a lot of stuff. I've learned all this, but it feels so much like I don't know this stuff. You know? I guess it's the imposter syndrome. That like curve you have of like when you're first starting out, you feel like you know everything in the world, but then as you get to know more and more, it begins to feel like you know less and less. That's kind of how I feel right now. I don't feel like I'm in the expert levels, but I feel like I guess I'm in the sort of area to where like I know more than I don't know. I can't usually use the arrow. If I feel like I need to like emphasize something, I'll use it. But it feels very YouTube-y. Is the arrow era of thumbnails over? No, it's not. I'll use it if I want to like be extra eye-catching. But if I don't have anything like super eye-catching, I won't be like. I don't know. I don't like using arrows. It's not necessarily anything against arrows in thumbnails. I think they're really good at grabbing attention. They're really good at like dragging your eye to something that they want you to focus on. My only problem is I don't have enough things in my screen in like the thumbnail to distract you from the main topic anyway. So like if I circled, for example, let's bring up one of my thumbnails here. Yeah, I'll actually show it to you in the file. This will also be surprising for those of you who don't know about how I make my thumbnails, because I know some people don't know this, but I think you'll learn what I'm talking about here in a second. It's funny stuff. But let's just look at the first macro video where we made the macro. If you remember back to that thumbnail, which is loaded up perfectly right here. Yes, first, I do make all my thumbnails in DaVinci. Sue me. It works, okay. But yeah, if I did like a circle or an arrow on this, for one, it'd probably be too busy. But also, it's the only thing visible in the in the screen. So like, I don't see a point to make an arrow to it. Plus, I'm pointing at it, so that also helps with like dragging your attention over to it. To make yours in Fusion, I do think the Fusion is maybe a little smarter because you have more control over like different, like fancier animations or not animations, but like graphics. But I have a Asher is the arrow, always. Maybe it just I think that just makes me think of the Green Arrow show from Netflix. I just recently rewatched The Flash, so that's what's on my mind. But I have my own effect manager, which is a free macro you can get for the edit page, and you can just have color overlay. You can do a drop shadow, which is kind of hard to see. Glow on the overlay and off the overlay. Have a stroke. You can add a stroke. You can add a glow to the stroke. You can transform the final image. You can reorder the effects. So that's why I do it on the edit page, because I made this really quick and easy tool that I just constantly am reusing everywhere. I think the angles are really good. I like doing angled text and aspects on the screen too. This one just felt really, really organized. Like I felt like for the first episode of the series, let's make it organized. Like let's make it, I don't know. I don't know. I definitely like if we look at some like Patrick Sterling or some Mr. Alex Tech thumbnails, they do a really good job at doing some kooky stuff in their thumbnails. Patrick, I think, has a more stuff similar to mine. I think my stuff mirrors more of his than Alex's. Alex's thumbnails, I'm pretty sure, use AI to some degree to generate some random background, which I have my own thoughts about AI, which I won't have to go into in this stream. But let's just say I'm not a huge fan of it when it comes to art. But he uses it to generate a random background, which could be done by just, I don't know, photoshopping in a couple of hours, but that also takes time. You could hire somebody, but then it also takes money. So like your first thought would be, oh, it's really fast and easy to use AI, why not use it? I don't know. I could go into that for a while, but I don't want to go into it. Like, At this point, AI is rehashing other people's work and jamming a bunch of ideas together into a melting pot, which sounds good on paper, but when the artists don't approve of their work getting taken for this, it does not sound good after that. I like it as a source of information of coding, that like if you don't know something for coding, if you want a specific function that'll do a specific thing. For example, this is a little bit advanced, but in Lua there's no ordered tables, but I have this, what I keep calling complex table, but I think someone actually corrected me and I forget what they called it, because I just called it for this for so long. But I wanted to get everything from the complex table, including the ID. And since the IDs could be anything, I had to get the table as a string, read the parts of the string that were the IDs, put those into a separate table, put everything back into a table, like take the string and put it back into a table, and then loop through with the new table of the IDs that was just found. I create my art from the ether. I didn't ask the ether for permission. What are you talking about? The ether? What? I know, but like, what does that have to do with anything? Like, we're talking about art just getting used and reused. I don't know. What's up? Salo? I think I'm gonna say it the same way every single time, by the way. It's gonna become a joke just because I don't know how to pronounce it correctly. What's your question? Sa-ulo? My mouth has a hard time fitting to those syllables. I don't know why. It's entirely me. You use recut to remove silence. Any easy way to do that with macros? Macros, probably not. Macros are good for like fusion effects. Maybe you more specifically mean script, because a script would be able to do that probably. But when it comes to AI and scripting, that's where things are hard. Now, I just talked about AI. That's a separate topic to talk about another day. But we also have to acknowledge that doing AI in scripts is a very common thing. We have AI in DaVinci Resolve. There's no problems with AI being a tool. I'm okay with that. When it's being used to generate art, I have some opinions on that, but we don't have to go into it. But to remove a silence, remove the silence of your clips, to get the audio, you'd have to get the audio, upload it to an AI website, and to get it to detect the time codes, and then cut from the time codes, which theoretically is possible. I don't know of any online APIs that handle that. But in studio version of DaVinci, actually, hold on, let me open up a clean project with just a clip in it, because this isn't going to be a very good example. Let me get in a clip in here. Is there like whistles happening in the song right now? I keep hearing random sounds coming from my headphones. It's kind of funny. Let me just get the video clip from today's video. I think this is the right one. Yeah. This is a pretty long video. The original clip was like a little over an hour. I'm not wearing headphones, but I can hear it from like, they're just over off to the side. So this, you can't really tell. Let me just get rid of these extra layers. This is my voice layer. Delete the empty tracks. Okay, so here we go. So I'm just in a new timeline here. Hello, me from the past. If we go up and generates, so right click on like your timeline. If you have Studio, this works in Studio only. You can transcribe your audio like this. Yeah, this is, I think, also a 19 only feature. So if you're in 19 on Studio, this is a very specific. You can transcribe. It might take a minute because this is kind of long, I guess. But you can transcribe it, and then you can remove the silences like that. It may be different than Recut. I don't really know for sure, but it is in DaVinci. It's just a paid-for part of DaVinci. I think, okay. I was trying to figure out what Beast of Banks was saying. I think you're still talking about my headphones. Okay. Asher, I think the use case would be to remove any piece of video which is below 40 dB or longer than like 500 milliseconds. I don't. So I don't know how to get the audio stuff from clips. Let me look. Oh, I opened up to an HTML website. It did not even load a full website. Let me check real quick. Is there timeline item properties? Basic Resolve API. Here we go. Timeline item. Can I get any information about audio? Can I even get the second layer? So I can get stereo coverage values. What's that? I don't know what that means. That also could be the problem. I just don't know what these terms are. Anything with its volume levels. I'm not seeing much. Floating window palms. What does that mean? What do you mean? I honestly have no idea. I may just not be understanding what these things are saying because I'm not familiar with like specific audio stuff. But this also looks like it's talking about video because it's talking about left eye, right eye. I don't see anything about audio. I'll have to ask the people on the We Suck Less forum. Actually, I think I know exactly who to contact. And that would be the person who Orson Lord is working with, because Orson is working on an audio-related plugin right now for podcasts. He's making like an Autopod DaVinci thing. Oh yeah, by the way, here's the transcriptions. If you have Resolve 19, if you have Studio, this button right here, it will remove any of these three dots, which count as silences. So if you just click that, wait a second. This is how I cut out all my videos, by the way. And then you have all your silences cut out. Super easy. And this is how I cut all my videos. It makes my life way easier. It makes me so I don't have to cut up so many things. Super handy. So yeah, I think if I talk to the guy that Orson's working with, I may be able to learn how to do it. He's also using a different type of plugin script thing. He's using what's called, let me hop back over here. He's using what's called a workflow integration, which is a lesser known script thing. Oh, that doesn't work well with your workflow? What do you usually do after you cut up the clips? It messes up your cuts too if you didn't mean to hit it. Yes, it can, yeah. Also, when you use it, it can sometimes cut you off. If you get like too low in like a dB range, it'll just cut you off. It'll remove entire sections sometimes. It's not very flawless. They're definitely still working on it behind the scenes. That's why we're still in beta, I'm sure. And that's definitely one of the bigger reasons why. I'm sure there's more features coming too. But it's a bit of a bug. It's a bit of a buggy mess sometimes. But yeah. What do you usually do after you like cut silences out? Like if it doesn't work any well in your workflow, what do you do after that? If you don't just bring it into your timeline. But yes, I was saying there's something called workflow integrations, which is a different. Yes, this is. Motion Suite is not a workflow plugin. Motion Suite is a regular script. Here, I actually have it. Actually, have you not seen it before? I guess for those of you who haven't, because I'm sure there's a big enough group of you who haven't seen it before. Xsession, a pretty cool guy, well-known scripter in the community who's been coding for like 8+ years. He made something called Motion Suite, which takes a second to load because there's a lot of shit in this. We have a bunch of what he calls suites, which are like quick controls. He has an unpacked feature, which does what my macro swapper does. You bought it, nice. I shouldn't say this, but I think for when I have an old version, but I didn't have to buy it because he and I were talking when I was making my Anim utility tool, and he was like helping me out. We were talking about scripting stuff, and I gave him Anim utility for free, and he gave me Motion Suite for free because originally the only thing Anim utility was a paid for product, but eventually was like, it's my first script for one, and secondly, it's also good promo for anything that I make in the future if it's free, because it's an animation plugin for macros. That's what I'm all about. The fire thing is really cool. Oh no. What fire thing? I think he has a few good features in here for sure. I like the textures, that's really cool. And I like the easing. This is also really, really sweet. It reminds me of Flow, I think it's called. That was like an After Effects plugin, which was really handy, and I wish that it could be remade in DaVinci. For the record, I've looked into it. With basic scripting, it pretty much can't, because you can't do curves in like the UI system in Fusion. Like, this is just PNGs that he made. These are just PNGs that he stored inside of the files. These are not actually like lines that he has curved on here. There's no way to actually curve lines, which sucks because I wish you could. Which is also why another plugin called Ease Copy exists, but it doesn't actually have the curve system. It just takes the stuff that's already in the spline panel, it'll copy it, store it as a saved thing in your Fusion, and then you can recall it at any point in the future. Which, by the way, this script I got from watching a Peach video. It was actually the first Peach video I ever watched. Fun fact. And I wasn't aware of that it was Peach until a few months later when I was beginning to learn who he was. And I was like, oh, he's like really well known. People actually like know this guy. It's not just like a cool guy with a deep voice. Yeah, I loved Flow. I definitely pirated it, but I loved Flow. Don't pirate things. It's bad. You were at DaVinci Con? Oh man, everything just came through. Cool ass dude. Dude, I don't doubt it. He seems like an awesome guy. He also keeps praising me a lot, so I also like him for that. Nah, my ego is really high right now. You hit 500 subs and your ego just goes out the window, you know? Nah, I'm kidding. I'm just really happy that I'm, like, knowing with these people now. You do curves with expressions, can't you? I thought I saw those somewhere. I guarantee you this is mostly just an act just for this stream because it's more fun. But I'm honestly really humbled by the publicity. I'm sure that's the term for that. And like the attention that my channel has gotten because it's crazy. I didn't think I'd be growing as fast as I would. I think I'd be taking it a little slower. I wanted to grow faster, but I didn't think I'd actually do it. So curves with expressions. Technically, I guess you could, but it would be complicated. So the way that curves work is it slows down your animation, or 1K by the end of the year. I'm hoping to get 1K in 2 months. We'll see. Or at least the ones like cubic, quadric, etc. Yeah, like the standard curves. Yeah. Like the ones with just like the standard handles. Yeah. Not the ones that go outside the bounds. Maybe. I mean, you don't need to have the spline panel to make curves. Something I actually didn't show in today's video. I probably should have. But I saved it for those of you who went over to the Patrick Sterling video for the anim curves. But for anim curves, you can make your own curves. If we modify those with an anim curve, you can come over here and on the curve thing, there's still custom. You can literally make your own curve. You can go outside the bounds a little bit too if you want to. You can stay inside the bounds. Look at that. And then like starts out really fast, then it slowly just slows down until it settles. So like there's a way to do that outside of the spline panel, and you can also use this in macros, give the user this on the edit page, and they can do this really easily. Theoretically, no problem, Chad. You're just fine. I will say we are probably going to head out here probably kind of soon. Just because I have plans with a friend tonight. We were going to be playing some games. But I guess in terms of expressions, I don't think so. You can, however, set curves via code. For one, that's how ease copy works and how Motion Suite works. But there was someone made a plugin. I don't think I saved it, but it was really, really cool. Like, I was blown away by this whenever I first saw it. Yeah, or no, was this you who sent this to me? Yeah, when you set the curves with the code. I think it was you. Easy time remap, was that what it was called? Or was that, I think that might have been Peach's thing. Elastic Animator. Is that it? No. Yes, it is Elastic Animator. Okay. This thing. I just want to show this off because it's actually really cool. I say that as if it wouldn't have been cool otherwise. For some reason. So, you can see we have these things. And if you have animate and clear keyframes, which usually if you see animate like this, let's just get rid of this real quick. Usually if you see animate like that, you're like, oh cool, it's gonna be like anim curves, it's gonna like add a modifier onto here. Oh, cool stuff. No. Let's open up the spline panel. Animate. It puts keyframes down and a curve. That's really cool. You can also then clear those keyframes. That's really cool. Yeah, like these presets you're talking about. Like we can do fast animate, or maybe that was its default. Slow animate. Yeah, look at that. Let's do clear those keyframes. Let's do 0.7 animate. Different still. Look at that. Now I don't personally know what some of these things mean. Like these numbers, I don't know specifically what they mean, and I also don't know if the average person knows what they'd mean. That's just my only concern with doing numbers like that. That's why I don't like handling curves, because you have to give the exact like term of whatever the curve is technically called, I guess, for them to like easily know what you're trying to give them. I don't know. Like it's the influence, but like what's influence? The curve's influence? How is it influencing it? Is it making it faster? Is it making it slower? Like just giving me a number, I guess for me doesn't tell me much. I need to be like spoon fed what this feature does for me to know how to use it. And I feel like that's just me thinking about it in the terms of like the average user. Like, would the average user know how to use this thing based off of what I see? Maybe not. Maybe they would. But at the same time, is this made for the average user? How big is the learning curve for those who this is made for? Like there's tons of questions to be asked about like optimizing this for user-friendly design. But that is an entirely different topic there will be an entire video. Making user-friendly design will somewhat be next macro video, and also somewhat be the video after that, where we're like actually turning it into a macro. But like it's more of an opinion of the person who made it, and testing with a couple of people who don't know how to use it yet. And it's just like, if they can figure out how to use it, then you're probably good to go. Like, just do some testing. That's all you really got to worry about. But like, I do like all this stuff. Like, you can set like the spline influence up here. You can set the length of your animation. Like, this is still really cool. I am really impressed by this. But I also can assume how this is done because I can code. I can assume that you're taking, like when you click animate, you're taking these as variables. This is probably setting a variable somewhere in the background, and when you press animate, it just inserts those variables into the code. This is made by Henry. He's in the Discord. He sent this to me. I don't know if it's a finished product yet, technically, but if he wants to send it to you, feel free to put it in the Discord again for everyone who's in the stream. But it's like, it's super, super cool stuff. Yeah, that's definitely how it's done. Yeah, genius. But also, it's not the most complicated thing. Like this is probably doing what? 4 lines of code? 5? I could probably figure it out. Oh, is this in the share your work one? Easing functions. Ooh, what do we have here? These are the. Wait a second. Well, hold on. Hold on now. Do these look familiar to anybody else who's been here in a second? Yes. When you look, so I'm saying specifically swap them, because when you're translating from Python to Lua, that's usually what you have to do. But if you know what the thing is going to be, then you probably already know what to switch it to. Like if you know if it's a property or a method, then you'll probably already will know what to switch it to. I'm not super good with knowing all the terminology. of coding stuffs like properties and methods. Probably should learn that stuff, but once again, I did not learn the traditional way. I learned in a brief way to get me like kickstarted into it, but I didn't like have a huge coding background with like tons of that kind of knowledge with APIs and stuff. So if you know that stuff, great. I'm a novice when it comes to the terminology. Okay. But yeah, does anybody else recognize these images, by the way? Because I do. I'm going to see if somebody else can tell me where they've seen these before. We just saw these. I think it's really funny because I think I know something that I did not know before, which is interesting. Essential. EKG at the hospital. It looks a little bit like Motion Suite. These are the exact images, I'm pretty sure, that he uses in his Motion Suite plugin. Pretty sure these are exact. I think you just screenshotted them. Look at this. I think they're exactly the same. I didn't know where he got these from. I thought he just made them or something. I figured he found them. Yeah. I figured it does. Is it specifically for DaVinci, or is it a general expression? Because they're different. Oh. Okay. This is not an expression. This is code. Okay. I don't know what this is doing. I'm not sure what this is. Okay. Interesting. So, Wampus shared it. Did he share that in the Discord, or did he share that somewhere else? This is okay. This is really cool. You cannot use this in DaVinci, but if you were to... Curves are great. I love curves. They're fantastic. They confuse the heck out of me because they're like vector math, and vector math confuses me because it's all coordinates, and my brain does not like coordinates because geometry was a thing. But you can... okay, so it's in his Discord. But you can use this on like a website and make the splines. And theoretically, this could still work. I don't think this is in Lua, but if you could convert this for Lua, this could work just fine for you. Now, it's not in Lua because you can tell because it has the brackets instead of like the end thing here. This is made for TypeScript. But if you could convert this to Lua, you could draw the curve if we had a graph visualizer in DaVinci. But we don't. So potentially what we could do is put this in like Love2D, possibly. Because I think Love2D has a vector drawing system. I don't know. Maybe. I think it's something similar to it. I don't know, because it's all pixely. I don't know. I haven't really used Love2D that much to know all the ins and outs of it, but I think it can use vectors, which is how you would make a curve. Like, you have to have, I think, vector math to do the curves. I think. Which, by the way, if you don't know, vector math, for example, for DaVinci users, is shape nodes and stuff like that. This is vector math. If we're trying to preview this rectangle, it previews, but it does not give us the size of the comp because there is no size to this. This is sitting in its own universe of numbers. This is literally just number information. When we give it the render node, that converts it into a rasterized image that fits into a comp size. So this is vector math for a rectangle. I think you could definitely, so like what you made right here, you could definitely do something like this with a Lua script, for sure. I just wish that we were able to be able to like actually change the handles on something like this and then like bulk add it to stuff like it can with Flow. I don't know. Maybe we can look at doing a collaboration and make a Flow like plugin together. I think that'd be interesting because you know more about this stuff than me. But I could also just dissect this as well. But you could totally do that theoretically. You just wouldn't be able to give them the handles. Well, it's just a table with two values, but you can't give them the handles on like a UI on a GUI. Up here, if we were to like launch this, because like what I would want is for the user to have the ability to do it in a script, like handle it like you can in Flow. But you just can't. There's like no curve system. You can't bring up a curve, I don't think. I'll have to look at the documentation for GUIs again to double check that. I don't think there is an existing method to do curves. Can you do a vertical slider? If you can, you probably could, actually. Maybe. Let me quickly look to see if it's written down somewhere. I'm going to say right now, most likely not. Because we all know how much this stuff likes to hate me. Let's see, slider. This is advanced, not the elements. So, slider, when you call a slider, it can be, can have orientation. Yes, you can have a vertical slider. Right there. For context, I'm looking at this website. We can see orientation for sliders. So yes, you can. So we could simulate of the Flow plugin, but it wouldn't have like the same visual assist that the original one did, which I guess could be fine. But I really liked the ability to like set the visual of it with the handles, and then you just like add, and then it just adds it to everything in the comp, and it's super nice for like it adds it to all the selected keyframes, whatever they did. I'll have to use it again to remember because it's been a second. But that is something that we do miss with DaVinci stuff, is that there's no good curve plugins. In the script guide, it mentions this task. Tasks prone to human error, for example, verify that certain settings are set before sending a composition to rendering. I have never messed with that. You do a lot of numbers. I haven't. I wouldn't even know where to start looking for that in the Fusion scripting guide. I'm guessing it's near the end. What you could do is search for the term rendering or settings and see if you can like find it that way to kind of clarify what I mean. if we do like a, you know, Control F like you do searching up anything else. I'm blocking it right now. Hold on. So a Control F brought up this little search bar. We can type in like settings. Maybe we can find something. Like we just found the thing we just put in there, but if we keep looking for it, you might be able to find it. It's gonna be a lot of just searching for it. I don't know. I haven't really thought of anybody working with it that much. But something you could do, there's a script, or I guess a collection of scripts called Resolve Essentials. If you have Reactor, the plugin Reactor from the people at Resuck Less, that forum, give it a second. Seriously though, like it's nearly endless. There's maybe a couple of things you can't do, but if you can imagine it, you can probably make it happen. But if you do Resolve Essentials, this has a bunch of really, really good stuff built into it. It's like a whole package of things. If we come down here to Resolve Essentials, we can show any of our folders. We can see any of the resources, including the Resuck Less stuff, tutorials, custom toolbars, fusion credits. We can see the preferences window. We can open containing folders, render selected. So like that may be a good resource for you to like look at that and like figure out how they're doing certain things and like break it apart. Maybe figure out where that is in the scripting guide and then like learn based off of that. That has a lot of great stuff in it. That's the first thing I thought of because it uses a lot of settings and like check settings. But like what specific settings would you, I guess, be looking for? Because there's a lot of stuff I guess you could do. Yeah. I mean, honestly, look at everything in Reactor. And if you see anything that stands out to you as really cool, do that. Like, break it down. Like, there's this toolbar for Fusion 16 Plus that literally is like a toolbar. Yeah. Keeping your eyes open. Yeah. Let's see. I have it set to Control or Shift T. Control T. I'm trying to bring up the toolbar, but I don't know what key I put it on. And where did it go? So this is also what you use Resolve Essentials for, is that you can set up hotkey manager. Hold on now. Wait a second. Is it? For those of you who don't know what just happened, I'm pretty sure I just discovered that all of your hotkeys that are made in that are project library specific. Because I have those hotkeys set up in a couple of different other places, but not in this one. Maybe it's not allowing it to happen in a server because this is on the cloud. I don't know. That's really weird. If you want to see it specifically, any animate text box in the script page, are you talking about in this? Shows how to do the curves thing. Oh, I take it you did the code block method, whatever you want to technically call it. This is like a collection of nodes, right? Interesting. Yes, I do remember seeing that. I think I even have it downloaded. But yeah, scripts. Oh yeah, I remember seeing this now. You went with the smallest boxes you could. Huge respect. It gets super busy in here. So yeah. Ah, okay. I understand that now. Pasted in versus or something. My brain is not understanding things today. What? Ah, yes. Pasted in VS Code or something. Yes. Sorry, I see VS. I guess my brain just thought of versus for some reason. I don't know. I always just say VS Code because that's how you know what it is. Maybe you capitalize versus? No, I think that may even confuse me even more. Because then it would have been like versus or something. By the way, you can't see it, but I'm actually looking at the code. Where'd you learn to do this stuff? Did you find it in like one of the guides or did you find it in a script? Hello, loud horn that I heard miles away from my headphones. Jeez. By the way, something I haven't touched on in a video yet is changing the icons of pages. Just a quick off-the-hand topic here. There's a PDF that talks about handles that I haven't seen in any of the links of the Discord channel. There's a PDF that talks about handles from DaVinci? From them? I need to... Yes. What? How do I not know about this? Well, I will learn. Thank you for the education. To be fair, I also didn't know some of the stuff that P just sent into the chat or in the Discord because there's some really crazy documentations that he's found that I'm just like, ooh, piece of candy. It's hardly half a page, but yeah. Hey, when it comes to curves, that's enough. I'm sure there's not a whole lot of documentation on it, but at the same time, understanding it needs a whole half page. What was I gonna do? Shoot, what was I gonna do? This is the problem with my brain. Oh yeah, these. You can actually change these icons, and you can actually find icons that you can change these to in your computer. You know, get a new folder. If you go to your local disk and view your hidden items, program data, no. I don't remember actually the folder it was in, so I'll just bring you to my copy of it. I made a copy of this folder because it's easier to mess with than the full thing. So we have, it's not called fusion.zip. It actually has its own like extension. Like if I look for it, I can probably find it. Because someone made a UI with it. It is the Fuskin. So let's actually bring up this script. So this person made a Fuskin button toolbar GUI. This takes images that DaVinci Resolve packages in with them and uses them in a script, so they don't have to give you these images themselves. DaVinci has these images, and all that they had to do was look for them and then store them in a temporary location. That's crazy. But you can do that same thing, getting this same folder, which is this fusion.fuskin, whatever the pronunciation of that is. If you unzip it, you get all these folders, and you can actually find icons to change them to. So if we look for tools and then tabs, yes, this is it. This is the list of icons you can change them to. It looks like a huge list, but I'm sorry to burst your bubble. Each one has all of these versions. They have a small version, a 2x version, an active version, a hover version, and a push version. All of them with 2x versions. So like they all have different versions of them, so that when you're hovering over them, they'll actually like change how they look, and when you click them, they change. But if you just do a certain thing, which I have written right over here, remember how the user controls we used before, we were able to remove an entire page from DaVinci? Well, they probably did have that in the file, yeah. If you change it, if you add any images into that file, like people can make skins for DaVinci using that file. Like they can make their own skins that like create their own fusion.fusk, and it will literally create a skin for DaVinci. It's really cool stuff, but complicated stuff that I don't know how to do the skins for. But I have an example macro already set up here. If you have user controls on your macro set up, you can just set them up near the bottom of the page here, or in Fusion you can like right click and add user control, go into the code, remove that control you just added it, and then you just have that section, which is how I made this. You can then specify which page it is. It's a controls page, and you want to. It is a visible page, it is a standard priority, but then this is the code that you do to change it. This is just saying, like, essentially, image ID. I don't know what all these specific letters mean very specifically, but this is the code call that you do whenever you're changing the icon of the page. And then you just, this is the folder, like the file path of the image in that folder. So if we go back into our Fusion folder, we can ignore icons because it's going to take icons by default because that's the Fusion folder. And then it's going in Tools, in Tabs, and this is taking blue, which is just a big old B. So if we take this and paste it into Fusion now, we have a B for our icon. It's not the standard icon anymore, and it has the same interactions that it normally does. It's really cool. So when you go into your code, you want to figure out what to put into here. You can look at this, or there's actually a list. I need to get the list again because I actually closed that web page. But Andrew from the We Suck Less forum has an entire forum post which has most of the options for this. It doesn't have some, because some of them are kind of redundant and probably not really wanted, like blue, but we can do calculate. I'm just gonna copy the name from this so it's exact, and I think it has to be capitalized, and then we can select everything, copy it, delete test, paste this. Okay, and it says there's a problem finding it. But you can see, couldn't find the scan entry. Also, I can't close this now. Okay. So I wonder if maybe it needs to be lowercase. There may be things in this folder that you actually can't use. I guess I haven't tested that one yet. Maybe I can't add that one to my macro creator. But I believe you can definitely do audio channel. Oh no, maybe calculate something different. Hold on. Real quick, let me try to find this documentation. I should just be able to find it in my history. We suck less. That's your posts. That's gonna be from yesterday or a couple of days ago. So I can't see you guys. Here, I'll put this over here. I'm just looking for it real quick. Don't mind me. Is it this? No, but I could probably find it from this. As described here. Yes, okay. This is the entire list. Okay. Page 53 at the end. Of the scripting guide? Does this exist in the scripting guide? Oh, for splines. Okay. I see you're talking about splines still. Okay. I'll be honest, this slightly confuses me. I'm guessing these are frame counts. And I'm guessing this is influence. I'll have to study that. I'll have to figure it out. Okay. But, let's see. Where is calculator on here? Operation. That's something different, though. Calculation. It's on here. Oh, because it's called calculate, not calculation. Okay. So it's supposed to be calculation, not calculate. Okay. So everything in that folder... Where did... Oh, it crashed. So everything in that folder can be added as an icon. You just have to know it's going to be named in the code, which it's usually a slightly different name. But I will drop this in the chat here. And I'm also going to make the actual list into a documentation on the Discord. But you can also change icons of tools, by the way. Like, you can change icons of tools with the same idea. Super crazy stuff. Oh, there's a... Okay. There's a script for that. Okay, I said I'd end a long time ago, so I'm going to show this off real quick, and then we're going to end it off, okay? It's my bad. So if we paste this in... Oh, I didn't copy it. My fault. Copy this now, and if we go to paste it, now we can see it has our calculator. Pretty cool stuff. Which, this is the DF I'm talking about. You put in a... Oh no, that's the link in program files. I thought you were just giving me a random link on your computer that was like in your main system, and I was like, whoa, hold on now. I can't see that. Fusion Fuse Manual. Oh, yes. So the Fusion Fuse Manual has a half a page talking about curves. Makes sense? No, don't try to log into Adobe. Stupid Acrobat. Okay. Are there any last minute questions before we go ahead and start ending things off for this evening? It's already like 10. Jeez. But I will be taking a look at Fusion documentation, or a Fuse documentation. I've been meaning to actually for a while, because it's also a good way to learn how to do different things with macros. Because when you make a fuse, you're essentially creating your own node, and that has very similar terms that a macro has for its code. Very similar terms. That's how I discovered how you can do gradients with user controls, since you can't add it in there using the control editor, and it's not well known that a gradient is possible. If you look at a fuse, you can make a gradient, and if you slightly change that information, you can add that onto a macro, and I have. It's really cool. Good job, Henry. Huge props to you. It's a good step forward. Scripting is very scary once you get into it. Yeah, no problem, Salo. No, that's not. I think I said that even worse this time. It's been good helping you out, dude. Yeah, check the channel, the community posts for next week, because I'll probably be doing another poll, trying to narrow down the streaming time, and we might even like do flip-flopping streaming days. So we might do some streams on Friday nights, and we might do some streams like midday Saturdays. So we might have multiple days, so you may have to keep on your toes for that. I might just try to stick with one day, just because it's easier for everyone to show up all at the same time, and you know, all that kind of stuff. Plus, it's less work for everyone else to try to figure out the best time that week, whatever, you know. Nuance. So, yeah. If there's any questions, go ahead and leave them now. But I'm gonna be ending stream here in a couple minutes. I'm just talking, letting you guys think of any other questions real quick. Pop them in the chat. But if not, I might go ahead and call it. It's good talking with everybody. It was real fun today. We talked about a lot of good stuff. We learned a lot of stuff about Fusion, right? We learned some nice scripting stuff. We learned some macro stuff. That's what we're here for. But yeah. No, dude, it's actually really cool. I like being able to just set curves like that. Super smart. And then have them like customize the curves too. Chef's kiss. Like, it's not just like presets like what Accession did. Alrighty. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and call it for tonight. Y'all have a good rest of your week, and a good beginning of next week, and I will see you guys for the video all about making our first script for DaVinci. Technically, the last video we made a script, and I called it the first script, but now we're actually making an actual, like, usable script that's gonna do something cool. So look out for that. It's gonna be fun. Gonna learn a lot about the GUI system and some basic information, but as we go along in the series, we'll get into more advanced stuff with scripting and combining what we learned with Lua with the DaVinci Resolve stuff to do some kooky things, like how I've done my macro creator, which there's no one really here, but it's a really cool macro creator, and I'll show it off in another stream. Or you can check out the Discord, and I have a video showing it off there. But yep. I'll see you guys. Have a great rest of your week. Bye.